Yo, it's L.
Lately, I've been playing a lot of Ocarina of Time. I've been doing things in the game the developers didn't really design the game to do. And in this video, I wanted to document my latest experiment. I wanted to start The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time in the adult timeline. I just wanted to start off as an adult and just skip the child section. I was curious how much of the worlds would be changed. What kind of items and what kind of collectibles could I still get? What parts of the game did and didn't I have access to? And what kind of issues would I run into? So, let's see what happens when you skip the child section of Ocarina of Time and just start in the adult timeline.
The intro cinematic plays, and adult Link is laying on the bed. In the next cutscene, he's still an adult, and it looks like he has the Master Sword? I guess I just start with it, nice. Next is Navi in the Great Deku Tree cutscene. Navi flies around, and she tries to talk to the Kokiri, but they aren't there.
Hello. Hey.
Alright, well, right off the bat, this is weird. I mean, Navi is just talking to the ghost of Link's dead friends.
So she enters Link's house, where he's asleep, but fully equipped. Starting off, looks like I don't have the sword. Sorry, I misspoke. Technically, it looks like I have the Master Sword, but in my inventory, it looks like I don't. And it shows the hover boots in the corner, but I don't actually have them either.
Huh. Well, I'm guessing I should expect some irregularities. I mean, I just removed the first, third of the game?
I go outside, and an enemy is waiting for me. Luckily for him, this sword is fake. I get to the Temple of Time, the spiritual stones are here, the wall is up, then I realize I have no ocarina. I don't have the Song of Time, and the wall here is solid.
Okay, this isn't good. Not only am I missing what I need to get the Master Sword, but I have no way of getting it. Plus, there's so much more stuff that I won't be able to get, meaning I can't beat the game, even if I got the Master Sword. You know what though? I know a guy. Hey, Chulink, it's me. I was wondering if you could fix my game. Well, I sort of removed a third of its insides, and now the rest of it is, pretty messed up. Thanks, man, I appreciate it.
Okay, so in order to get this to work, we had to give me a few items to start off with, otherwise, the game would be unbeatable. First, the Ocarina of Time. There's no way to get an ocarina as an adult, and I need to be able to play songs in order to progress. Which leads me to the next couple things I need to start with. Zelda's Lullaby. I'm going to need this for fairy fountain upgrades, and other things like controlling the water level in the water temple, for example. Epona's song. I'm pretty sure I'll need it to get Epona. I don't know for sure if I do technically need it, but if I don't use it, it won't matter anyways. It doesn't affect anything else. Saria's song. Can't progress in the Lost Woods to get to the Forest Temple without it. And the Song of Time. I need it for the blocks in the Forest Temple, the blocks after you get the hook shot, and a bunch of other places. I also need the Goron bracelet. Believe it or not, I can't move the blocks in the Forest Temple without it. A bottle. I need at least one bottle for blue fire in Ganon's castle, and to unfreeze King Zora. Also, I cannot get the adult timeline bottle without already having one. The Lens of Truth. I can't enter the desert without it. And lastly, Din's Fire. I do need it for the Shadow Temple, and I can't use it right away because I don't have magic. Even then, I do want to try and use it, only for opening the door for the Shadow Temple.
Also, I made it so Adult Link can enter crawl spaces just like Young Link can. Meaning, I can play the Desert Temple in full. I don't have to worry about going back to being a kid. In fact, it lets me access some areas that I can't normally access as Adult Link. And going into this, I haven't played the game like this before, which means there might be something I forgot, I may have given myself something I don't need, but if there's any issues, I'll be sure to cover them in the video as we go along. And honestly, I am curious to see what the game world will be like. Considering I didn't play as Young Link, that means technically there are things in the world that are still untouched. On top of that, having no Young Link section automatically makes this just a little bit harder, because I don't have access to all the resources that I normally would.
So the game loads up, and while I didn't want to start with any equipment, I do want to make this work. Plus, I did get to the Temple of Time, so we can pretend I had to come here first to get my sword. I did try to play the Song of Time now that I could, but that didn't work either. I didn't plan on turning into a child anyways, but even if I wanted to, it looks like I can't. The first thing to do is get the egg for the Big Goron trade quest. I'll need a shield, luckily there's one in the graveyard. Might as well grab the Sun Song while I'm here too. Now that I have the song, I can grab a heart piece right here in the graveyard. Then I race Dompe for the hook shot. Coming out, I grab the heart piece up here, and then I learn the Song of Storms. Outside I grab a heart piece, my first Skulltula, and then another heart piece. Before moving on, I race Dompe for, you guessed it, another heart piece. I want to grab as many heart pieces as I can before I head into the temples. I do enter the Dongo's Cavern, where I can climb up this ledge and hit this switch, saving me a lot of time. In fact, my height is a huge advantage here. I'm tall enough to grab this ledge here, jump over, and get the bombs. The chicken hatches, and I grab the heart piece above the Dongo's Cavern and make for Death Mountain. I stop by the fairy fountain for the magic meter, and Death Mountain for a heart piece. I bomb the Goron Kid, get the tunic, then head into Death Mountain Crater, so I can learn the Bolero Fire. Then I'm off again. I stop by Zora's River, I go into Zora's domain, and King Zora hasn't moved.
I just realized, because I never came here as a kid, I never got him to move out of the way.
I try to hook shot onto the ropes, but I can't.
Shit, I think I'm stuck. Who knows if anything like this is gonna happen again. I really hope not, because there's no other way to get into Zora's domain. I guess I'll have to get Chew Link to help me out again.
So I use some behind the scenes magic to get by King Zora. Turns out when you do something that hasn't been done before, you're going to encounter problems.
I do hope, if any more issues do pop up, that I can find a creative in-game solution to get around it.
From Zora's Fountain, I go into the Ice Cavern to get 3 Skulltulas and a heart piece. Then I get what I came for, the Iron Boots and the Serenade of Water. I grab the heart piece with the boots and I leave. I unfreeze King Zora and I get the blue tunic. I do some quick things in Hyrule Field, grab a heart piece in Gerudo Valley and one in Lon Lon Ranch. I need to stop by the Lost Woods for something, so I play Saria's song to get past this kid. I get another warp song, saving me some time later. Then I enter the Forest Temple. I wanted to get the bow as soon as I could, and while I was here, I took out 2 of the temple poes, lighting 2 of the 4 temple torches. I wake up Talon and he mentions Malon, which reminds me, I forgot to rescue Epona. I quickly went to get Epona. I feel so dumb, because I was at Lon Lon Ranch earlier. There we go, now she gives me the blue Kaku.
Okay, well, before I do the temples, I want to get the big Goron sword. I'd like to get the other bottle too, but the big Goron sword, that's going to make up for my lack of hearts. See, me and the crack team of eggheads here at the channel, we guessed that there are roughly 14 to 16 heart pieces that I don't think I can get as Adult Link. And you add the child bosses, and that's about 6 to 7 heart containers I don't think I'll be able to get. Plus, who knows how many Skulltulas I can't get either. I tried looking online at some guides, and a lot of Skulltulas that the guides say are child only, they show up in the adult timeline. Not many, but some do. So, I don't know which ones are actually going to show up or not.
So I just make my way through the Big Goron Sword side quest, using Epona to jump over the missing bridge in Gerudo Valley to trade away the saw. In some sections, you can warp. In others you can't because the item spoils. Like how the eye drops go bad unless I deliver them fresh to Big Goron. I do deliver everything funky fresh, then I wait a few days, and the Big Goron Sword is mine. Next I warp to Lake Hylia. I can't enter the fishing pond, so I enter the water temple. After I lower the water level and make my way through the temple, I had to be careful fighting enemies, as I didn't have much health. Since I started as an adult, I don't have the scale to dive for more than 2 seconds. Wow, and even at full health, I can't hold my breath for more than a minute without the Zora tunic. So this is what I have going into Shadow Link. It isn't much, but oh well. Fight actually turned out to be pretty easy. He put up a good fight and honestly it was down to the wire, but I got him in the end. And my reward was the long shot. After getting the boss key, I head for the boss. I maintain my distance. The fight takes a while. After 3 jump slashes though, Morpha is defeated. That's my first boss and my first heart container. The cinematic plays, I get the medallion, and I'm back in Lake Hylia. I grab the fire arrow and head fishing. So it looks like the record is still the owner's. I try a few times, then I notice something weird. Are there usually this many fish going crazy like this? My first catch ended up being only 7 pounds. After 5 minutes, I finally catch a big enough fish. 18 pounds, not too bad, and my reward is the golden scale. I grab the last of what I need from Lake Hylia and leave. I collect the pose and get the other bottle. I have at least 10 Skulltulas, so I can grab the adult wallet. In Gerudo's fortress, I get arrested, then break out and fight the first prison guard. I fight the next one, grab a heart piece, and make my way through the other 2 guards. Then I get the Gerudo membership card. Then I finish up here in Gerudo Fortress, and I follow the ghost to the Desert Colossus. I get Nehru's love and the Requiem of Spirit. Inside, I crawl through where young Link is supposed to go, and I take out the enemies. I thought it would be smooth sailing, but after I take out this enemy, I'm worried I can't hit this switch.
Well, that's just great. Could you imagine if I did this temple last, and then found out I was locked out because I couldn't use the boomerang?
I try bombs, that doesn't work. Luckily, if I'm right here in the corner, I can hit it. This enemy I can take out easily with a fire arrow. I enter the big open area, and it turns out I can use the long shot to go from child to adult area and vice versa pretty easily. In the room with the rupees, I can climb up to the higher ledges. So I can't enter the next area without a key. Meaning I'll have to light all these torches without being able to use Deku sticks. I refilled my magic, then used fire arrows to light the torches and get the key. I take out the iron knuckle pretty easily. Then I get the silver gauntlets. And I like how the game still mentions they won't fit a kid. Then I tried a long shot to where the mirror shield is, but it doesn't look like the chest has shown up yet. I re-enter the temple, push the block out of the way, and continue through as I normally would. I got to the next Iron Knuckle fight, and it was pretty quick. Then I got the mirror shield. When I saw this room with the fake doors, I was worried only the Megaton Hammer could defeat them. Luckily, bombs will defeat them as well. I shoot the eye, and the boss key is mine. I take out the last Iron Knuckle and head for the boss. Boss fight wasn't too hard. Big Goron sword makes the second form really easy. I get my next heart container, the medallion, and I'm done with the desert. Well, aside from this heart piece in Gerudo Valley. Which reminds me of the one I forgot in the graveyard. While I'm in town, I upgrade my quiver. Guess while I'm over here, I might as well do the fire temple. You know the temple. Freeing Gorons, getting keys, grabbing the Megaton Hammer. It's the one where you fight a dragon. Anyways, another boss, another heart container, another medallion. Now that I have the hammer, I get the magic meter upgrade. I did backtrack to get a few Skulltulas. I have 37 now, which gets me the Giant's Wallet. In the Forest Temple, I take out the next 2 Poes, then I fight Phantom Ganon. I get another heart container, and another medallion. Then I talk to this thing, and I'm done here. I crawl into the Kokiri sword area, and it looks like the sword isn't here. The chest isn't here either. And I was getting ready to fight the boulder, but that's not here either. So I reset and go back to the Temple of Time.
Now, I don't plan on turning back into a child, but I was curious to see if the Door of Time would be open now. I mean, it should be. I did beat the Forest Temple. So, the door should be open and I can at least talk to Sheik.
But apparently not. Next, but not last, is a Shadow Temple. Going into Kakariko Village, I was worried this cutscene might not play. Luckily for me though, it did play. And to get into the temple, I learned the Nocturne of Shadow. I do see if I can use arrows and fire arrows to light the torches, and it looks like they go out after a while. So I say screw it and use Din's Fire.
Okay, so I thought if I used the arrows and the fire arrows, I could get around using Din's Fire, which up to now I avoided using. But then again, you are supposed to use Din's Fire for this part, but I don't know if you could actually do it using just arrows and fire arrows. Me just fooling around doing it, it seems like you need perfect accuracy and perfect timing, and that's if the torches stay lit long enough. But whatever. Going forward, I'm going to try not to use Din's Fire again. I did want to treat it as a one-off item just to get into the Shadow Temple.
I fight whatever the hell this mini-boss is.
You know what? I wish I could be friends with this mini-boss, because he looks like he loves goth girls with huge asses.
Too bad he can't handle a big booty, so he dies. Then I steal his Jordans, which rap music taught me was a sign of disrespect. So I ran a bit into a problem. I can't use the fire arrows on the wooden death wall.
So nothing else seems to work. I tried bombs, I tried the hammer, they just don't work. I was hoping to find a solution around this, but it looks like I do have to use Din's Fire.
It is what it is. I have to use it because I do need the boss key. Next is a boss fight. Technically, you don't need the Lens of Truth. At least, I don't. So the last medallion is mine, and we're done with the temples.
So I went the extra mile, and I managed to get into the child dungeons as an adult. That's why it pays to be one of my viewers. You always get to see cool shit like this.
Let's see if I can beat the inside of the Deku Tree as an adult. I'll ignore the web for now, as I want to do this normally. I can hookshot onto the vines though. My mirror shield won't reflect this guy's projectiles. I am able to take him out still. Then, in the next room, I get the slingshot. I long shot up, kill a spider and jump down. Link's too tall for the water, so he takes damage on landing. I jump onto the ledge, and I actually do this part a bit backwards, as I go back and explore the dungeon a little bit. I do sort of get stuck here, and I need the iron boots to get out. I use the fire arrow to get down here, and then I defeat the 3 Stooges. So the boss fight starts off as normal, but I can't stun Goma. Arrows, hammers, bombs, nothing will work.
I was hoping the bow would make up for not having the slingshot. See, there are objects and enemies in this game that respond to getting hit by either the slingshot or the bow in the same way. Meaning if you hit one with the bow, that it would react the same way if you hit it with a slingshot. Because since this boss gets damaged by the slingshot, I thought it would be injured by the bow. But apparently not.
I found a workaround where C right is the boomerang with 30 slingshot ammo that looks like my bow. But it acts like the slingshot. 2 jump slashes with Big Goron's sword, and it's over. The dead Deku Tree then talks to me, which is weird because after the cinematic he looked okay. He pretended to give me the Kokiri Emerald, then he died for good. So earlier I did a lot of Dodongo's cavern, so now I just need to bomb the eyes. I climb up this ledge to get to the block, and I open the door. Here we go, King Dodongo as Adult Link. It takes 2 jump slashes with Big Goron's sword, and he's down for good. I do decide to collect this heart container.
I mean, I did beat this boss as an adult. I did get into the dungeon and do everything without using any glitches or tricks to get in. The Deku Tree though, because I didn't legitimately get into that, I didn't collect any Skulltulas or the heart container while I was there.
The cinematic is a bit wonky, especially when Link does this half-ass Matrix thing when getting the stone. Now the spiritual stone doesn't actually show up, but the game says I got it, and it's in my inventory, so whatever. There are guides on how to enter Lord Jabu Jabu as an adult, and it did take me a while, but I got in eventually. And luckily the long shot activates a switch, so I can enter the rest of the dungeon. In this room, it looks like I can use the hover boots to get across here. I grab a box and try to make my way over. Holding that box doesn't look like I'm making it over. Luckily, the princess is here, so we can make her way out. I then get the boomerang, and good thing too. I can't damage this tentacle thing, so I had to give myself the boomerang to beat this. But hey, at least I got the boomerang prior to doing this. Now, did you ever think you'd see Adult Link with hover boots and the mirror shield carrying Princess Ruto around, defeating enemies with an invisible boomerang? I mean, if I had seen this as a kid, I would have lost my mind, man. So we make our way to the stone. I try to steal it, but have no luck. I throw the princess up, then she tries lifting it, and the stone isn't there for some reason. Oh wait, never mind, it's behind her. The game acts so weird when you do things it wasn't programmed to process. She goes away, and the mini-boss and stone come back down. I always hated this mini-boss. And it turns out I can stun him, but I cannot damage him.
Seriously? I would really hate to find out that there is no way I can damage him as Adult Link, because that would really suck.
I tried using the slingshot, but unlike the Deku Tree, using it now freezes the game.
Well, that's funnier than anything I could ever write. I mean, yeah, you're not supposed to be here as an adult. Sure. I get it. But it doesn't mean the mini-boss should be immune to Adult Link, like... You know what, though? I do have one last idea.
So I tried for 10 minutes to get up here with the hover boots and a box. Then I had an idea. Maybe I could use the princess instead of a box. It took a few tries, but I got her onto the ledge.
Yes! See? That's what I mean by finding creative in-game solutions to the problems I encounter. I basically just skipped having to fight the mini-boss that I couldn't damage.
Now, I'm in the last room before the boss fight. I hit the door switch and head in. The intro cinematic plays and it doesn't show Baronade's name for some reason. The boss fight was pretty easy though. The boss went down in about 3 jump slashes, unlike the other child bosses.
So that may have been easy. I did have the big Goron sword after all. But it was really cool fighting the child bosses as an adult. I mean, I've never done that before. So it was really cool and it was a lot of fun getting to do that.
I pass on this heart container since I had to glitch to get in here. Then Princess Ruto and I leave. Then we're...
Whoa, we can't show that, we can't show that. This is not a good cinematic to play when Link is an adult. Let's just skip to the end.
While Link is trying to charge a spirit bomb, he's frozen in place while swimming. The camera zooms in, and I get the spiritual stone.
Okay, so knowing what I do now, it would have been really cool to do the child sections of the game first, especially Jabu Jabu's belly, because then I would have just had the boomerang for use, like the entire playthrough as an adult. That would have been really cool.
So it looks like I can enter Lord Jabu Jabu by here? That isn't right. I shouldn't be able to do that. Did something happen? I mean, I'm making my way down the frozen hall, and I jump off and... The water's unfrozen? What's going on here? There's ice, but I can walk around, I can swim, I can even exit into Lake Hylia?
Was that you? That's awesome, man. Okay, can't wait to check it out.
So, before we head anywhere though, let me check out my inventory. I have 46 Skulltulas I collected as Adult Link, collected 20 heart pieces, which is 5 heart containers, 1 heart container for each temple, plus the Dongo's Cavern, so that's 6 more hearts. In total I have 14.
Considering I didn't have the Scarecrow song, I didn't plant any beans, and I missed out on almost everything from the Young Link section of the game, I ended up collecting a lot of Skulltulas and heart pieces in the end.
So I enter the Temple of Time. Sheik's here, she does her big reveal. Zelda remembers something that never happened. Then I get the light arrows, and Ganondorf takes Zelda away. Looks like the wall is still up and I can't get in.
Well, if I can't get through, then I wonder what the surprise was that Chulink was talking about.
What the hell is this? Shadow Link? I thought this was going to be a fun surprise. Well, whatever, I take him out again, and I still can't turn into a kid. I'm at the end anyways, so I head for Ganon's castle, the bridge gets built, and I head inside. First, I make my way through the Shadow Temple room. I wanted to grab the golden gauntlets right away. And while I'm here, I do free the sage. Back outside, I head into the fairy fountain and get the defense upgrade. As I make my way through Ganon's castle, I avoided using Din's fire for this part, opting to use my fire arrows, and hoping I can shoot all the torches before they start going out. I free the rest of the little sages, which brings down the energy barrier, blocking my way. All that's left is to enter the area leading up to Ganondorf. I beat these guys and get the boss key.
Ever since I was a kid, I always wondered why they put a boss key in this part of the game. So, you have to defeat these enemies anyways, right? You're not doing anything extra to get it. This whole section is like one straight line that goes right to Ganondorf, so you don't deviate from the path at all. If they removed it, the game would function the same way. So, yeah, I know it sounds weird, but every time this section comes up, ever since I was a kid, that always crosses my mind for some reason.
I take out the Iron Knuckles, and I'm done. And the Ganondorf fight goes pretty well, don't really have any issues. Then Princess Zelda and I make our way out of the collapsing castle. Plot twist, Ganondorf is alive. So he becomes Ganon, and the fight continues. So while we're fighting, he does get a few good hits in, but Zelda blindsides him with a Kamehameha, and I deliver the killing blow. The ending cinematic plays, then Link's tunic is blue for some reason, then young Link comes to warn Zelda about the Super Smash Bros. Initiative.
Okay, so the game might be over, but this video isn't. There is one area I didn't get to in my last Ocarina of Time video, and up until now, I didn't get to it in this video either.
The bottom of the well. So let's crawl on in. I do try to crawl underwater, but I can't do that or open chest. For those of you who don't know, there's invisible holes in the ground. But since I have the hover boots, they make it so I don't actually fall down the hole. I did decide to jump down though, just so I can explore the bottom area a little bit. And I do have the Lens of Truth, but I wanted to explore a little bit without it. I noticed a Skulltula, but 50 gets me a heart piece, and I can't get 3 more for a heart container, so I just ignore it. I lower the water and I head back to crawl through that little area from before. I fight Marilyn Manson, and then I get the Lens of Truth. Looks like the door of time is still sealed. Just for fun, I play the Song of Time. And it opens? I can't believe this actually opened. It worked. The minute I walk in, the adult cinematic plays. Normally, this is what you would see after becoming an adult for the first time. Sheik shows up and stuff, then before she continues, the child cinematic plays. But Sheik is still there and the Master Sword isn't. I think I broke the game. I leave and come back, then the cinematic you get for beating the Forest Temple plays. Sheik explains I can use the pedestal to travel back to being a kid. She then teaches me the Prelude of Light, as if I need it at this point. And I put the Master Sword back. Ganondorf laughs at me, then the cinematic that would normally play when you go from kid to adult the first time starts to play now. Link is shocked since, as you can see, he's grown up and aged since we last saw him. Then Rauru does give me the last medallion. I mean, technically I am missing it. I put the sword back again, and this time it works! Only now Link has a red tunic. I haven't seen him in his green child tunic all playthrough. I enter the market, and it's cool seeing everyone here. It's like the reward for playing as an adult was going back and seeing Hyrule how it should be. Also, it seems Link has the mirror shield equipped. It's invisible, but it's showing equipped. Same with the Goron tunic. It's cool seeing young Link wearing it. Not only because it's my favorite color tunic in this game, but because it actually keeps him safe in Death Mountain Crater. I visit the Gorons and even get a bomb bag upgrade. I'm not sure there's much left to do aside from getting 100%, but it's cool because now that I'm back to Child Link, I'm going to explore the areas that I want to as an adult, only everything is going to be different. It's like I get to live in Hyrule after the day was saved. Lastly, we check out the Kokiri. When we started, they were all dead, and now all Link's little friends are alive and well. The Deku Tree looks like garbage, but he's alive too. After completing the whole game as Adult Link, returning to Young Link, collecting everything I missed, seeing the people I saved are alive and well, it's nice to see Link returning home to rest until his next adventure.
So after playing through the game as Adult Link, and becoming Young Link in the post-game, it really made me feel like I saved the day, I returned to being a child, and I get to live in a peaceful Hyrule. Like, my reward is I get to see the Hyrule that I saved. It was really fun going back to all these places, collecting and seeing all the things. that just weren't there in the adult timeline. And I'd love to do more videos on Ocarina of Time. Especially ROM hacks, randomizers, Gameshark stuff. I love experiencing the game in a new, refreshing way after playing it for over 20 years at this point. I do have one more Ocarina of Time video coming out in the near future, so make sure you're subscribed, like and comment if you can, and if I don't see you in a live stream, I'll see you in the next video.